Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our reading through the Tanak night, 12th of February 2025. Okay, I'll be reading out of Exodus, right? Okay, for our reading. You go into YouTube to our Prophets of Awakening and check out our videos. We have 1,000 or so videos that you can look at and check them out, get the meat out. And these videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. If you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Okay. Our hours that we're live is Tuesday and Wednesday. We on from 7 to 9 Central Time, p.m. and come back on Thursday nights, Friday nights for our Bible study. It's from 7 to 9 also. We have 2 Shabbat classes, one in the morning, 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time, about out in the evening on Saturday from 6 to 7 Central Time. Then we have a Israelite Advanced Bible study on Sundays. Normally lasts an hour, a little over an hour. It's about, it starts at 5 Central Time. So if you want to come in any of those times and check us out, more than welcome. Okay. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses, our Redeemer and our Savior, the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our reading through the Tanak. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, a prayer, psalms. We have some current events, some need-to-know information. We'll open it up for anybody with any questions or comments or dialogue. Then we go into our topic, which is reading out the book of Exodus. Okay, reading and breaking down scripture. Okay, then we'll pick a scripture and we'll close out. This moment of silence is all the hope and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we pray unto the Lord our God, and we make our confessions for Lord, great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee, to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongs unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries where thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. O Lord, hear this prayer and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, I'll read a psalm. Okay. Okay. I read Psalms 71 as a prayer for help in old age. In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be put to confusion. Deliver me in thy righteousness and cause me to escape. Incline thine ear unto me and save me. Be thou my strong habitation, whereunto I may continually resort. Thou hast given, though thou hast given to save me, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Deliver me, O my God, out of the hands of the wicked, out of the hands of the unrighteous and the cruel man. For thou art my hope, O Lord, thou art my trust for my youth. By thee have I been holding up from the womb. Thou art he that took me out of my mother's bowels, and my praise shall be continuously of thee. I am a wanderer unto many, but thou art my strong refuge. Let my mouth be filled with praises, thy praises, and with thy honor all the day. Cast me not off in time of old, forsake me not when my strength faileth. For my enemies speak against me, and they that lay wait for my soul take counsel together, saying, God hath forsaken him. Persecute and take him, for there is none to deliver him. O God, be not far from me. O my God, make haste for my help. Let them be confounded and consumed that are adversaries to my soul. Let them be covered with reproach and dishonor that seek my heart. But I will hope continuously and will yet praise the more and more. My youth shall I show forth thy righteousness and thy salvation all the day, for I know not the number thereof. I will go in the strength of the Lord God, and I will make mention of thy righteousness, even of thine only. O God, thou hast taught me from my youth, and hereto have I declared thy wonders. Now also, when I am old and gray-headed, O God, forsake me not, until I have showed thy strength unto this generation, power to everyone that is to come. Thy righteousness also, O God, is very high. Who has done great things, O God? Who is like unto thee? Thou which hast showed me great and source of troubles, shall quicken me again, and shall bring me up again in the depths of the earth. Thou shalt increase my greatness and comfort me on every side, and I will also praise thee with the pastry, even the truth of my God. Unto thee will I sing with a harp, and O thou Holy One of Israel, my lips shall greatly rejoice when I sing unto thee, and my soul which thou hast redeemed. My tongue also shall talk of thee, of thy righteousness all the day long, for they are confounded, for they are brought unto shame that seek my heart, seek my hurt. Okay, so that was Psalm 71. It's a prayer for help in old age. Anybody have any comments on that?
Shalom, brother Leonard. I don't know where you got that one from, but that is my favorite one. When my mind was good, I used to could quote the whole thing.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I want to break down some things in there. So it says, uh, in verse 7 says, I am a wanderer unto many, but thou art my strong refuge. Let my mouth be filled with praises, and with thy honor all the day long. Cast me not off in the time of old age, and forsake me not when my strength faileth. For my enemies speak against me, and they that lay wait for my soul take counsel together. So when you understand what the soul is, it's within the body, and the flesh is a jacket on the soul. So when you understand that, that's the reason I keep going back to uh, 2 Samuel when David died. When David died, then his soul left the body, and that's what he's talking about right here. He says, uh, "For my enemies speak against me, and they that wait for my soul take counsel together." So they waiting on him to die because they want to take his soul down the hell where they at. Let's look at it right quick. I'm always going there. So this is a good example right here. 2 Samuel. Okay, I'm in 2 Samuel 23, 22, I think it is. Yeah, 22 says, 22, this is David talking, says, verse 4, I will call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised, so shall I be saved. So that's what they talking about. Not save the body, save their soul, right? Once they leave the body. So it says, so shall I be saved from my enemies. Now we're gonna see who the enemies are. When the waves of death compassed me, that's when he died. The floods of ungodly men made me afraid. So who are these ungodly men? The wicked spirits that Enoch told us about. When those giants died, the spirit that's in that giant didn't come from heaven. So it's bound to the earth. It's here, tormenting mankind. And then even when you leave the body. So look what they do. When he found himself out of his body, he had died, right? Then it says, 5, when the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. Then verse 6, the sorrows of hell compassed me. That's these wicked spirits. The snares of death prevented him from ascending. They're trying to keep him from his soul from ascending. And then David said, in my distress, I called upon the Lord, cried unto my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter in his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, and the foundations of heaven moved and shook because he was wroth. Then there went up smoke out of his nostrils, fire out of his mouth, devoured coals were kindled. Did he bow the heavens? And he came down, darkness under his feet, and he rode upon a cherubim, did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind, and he made darkness a pavilion round about him, dark waters, thick clouds of the skies, and through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning, and discomfited them. See, that's these wicked spirits. And then 18, he delivered me from my strong enemy. That's these wicked spirits. And from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. So that's what he's talking about over here in verse 70. Let me see if this was it. Yeah, it says, yeah, 71. And he says, my enemies speak, this verse 10, Psalm 71 and 10. For my enemies speak against me, and they that lay wait for my soul, they counsel together, saying, God hath forsaken him, right? Persecute and take him, for there is none to deliver him. So they think they got the right to take him, because he dead, and they trying to kill, they want the spirit, the soul, I mean. So look at this too, and keep going to verse 19. This is Psalms, Ezekiel 37. Then all our forefathers knew this. This before they brought JC on the scene. 19. Thy righteousness also, O God, is very high, who hath done great things, O God, who is likened unto thee. Thou which hast showed me great and sore troubles shall quicken me again. See that? Ezekiel 37. They all knew they were going to get resurrected. My long folk, they concocted JC. Shall quicken me again, and shall bring me up again from the depths of the earth. Thou shalt increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. And I will also praise thee with the pastry, even thy truth of my God. Unto thee will I sing with the harp, O thou Holy One of Israel. So we know what the Holy One, it's only 7 Holy Ones. Yahweh ain't no Holy One. So Michael is the Holy One of Israel, God of over Israel. And then we see, like I said, that he gonna quicken them and bring them out of the grave. They knew that. And then he tells us that in Ezekiel 37. You're gonna know. Let me read it. So you go to Ezekiel 37. This is how you identify who our Redeemer is, rather than JC. So you go to Ezekiel, okay, 37. Here you go, your witness right here. Ezekiel 37, he says in verse 12, therefore prophesy and say unto them, that's our forefathers, the dead. Thus said the Lord God, behold, O my people, I will open up your graves, cause you to come up out of your graves, and I will bring you to the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. Not JC, I have opened up your graves, O my people, and I have brought you up out of your graves, and I shall put my spirit in you. That's the soul, right? That these angels, that's what they're doing when at the time when you pass away. They stay there to assist that soul back to where it came from heaven. And then when the time comes, him to resurrect the whole house of Israel, they bring those souls back. And that's why he says right here in verse 14, I shall put my spirit in you. Bring that same body back, put that spirit back in that body. And I shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I, the Lord, have spoken it, I performed it, said the Lord. So like I said before, this can't be JC. This long before JC even was thought of. So this can't be him. Okay. Any comments?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. That part about he that took me out of my mother's bowels. I've always had the mentality from birth that I was under divine protection.
Okay. Yeah. I noticed I hear a lot of testimonies, and a lot of people was they was getting those I guess inklings that something wasn't right, and they was being taught and warned about certain things and didn't understand it until now. Now it's everything's starting to come together. They starting to make sense, because that the same thing happened to me. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, here we go. Got some current events played, and then we'll talk about it.
An unnamed FBI special agent is defending his colleagues who investigated the insurrection as Donald Trump prepares to boot the men and women who did their duty from their jobs. CNN has obtained this letter, and it is unsparing. It's entitled, "Uncommon Sense Was a Common Vice." The author offers what he or she calls a vignette, free of political bias or moral judgment. The document runs through a job history, and a prolific one at that, preventing ISIS attacks, securing a hostage from the Taliban, listening to wiretaps to help take apart a violent drug gang, recruiting a source to provide intel on Putin's military, infiltrating a child trafficking operation, monitoring deep cover spies. In other words, take these words seriously. Quote, "Currently, there is an effort to call a significant number of career special agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigations. This is an unthinkable action that will gravely undermine the security of the nation." And these two, about the uncertainty of what happens now. Quote, "I am now sitting in my home, listening to my children play and laugh in the backyard, oblivious to the prospect that their father may be fired in a few days, fired for conducting a legally authorized investigation, fired for doing the job he was hired to do. I have to wonder, when I'm gone, who will do the quiet work that is behind the facade of your average neighbor?" It's a really powerful letter, and just to underscore it, it's an amalgamation of the types of people who work at the FBI, who are now all in the crosshairs, thousands and thousands of them who may have just touched a piece of paperwork that ended up at the January 6th investigation.
We all saw what happened January 6th. This is the part that I'm really struggling to understand. I'm struggling to understand how anyone could position that as if that was right, as if it was not worthy of investigation, as if the FBI was wrong to do its job and investigate what was obviously a crime that all of us watched happen in real time.
And actually, I mean, don't you remember when Mitch McConnell basically said a criminal investigation is the means to get justice for what happened on January 6th?
Yeah, there was a time that a lot of Republicans came to the table. And so let's also remember that Kevin McCarthy and other Republicans went to the floor within 24 hours of the insurrection and said, this is a problem. Donald Trump needs to stop this. He needs to stop this behavior. The fact that this is happening, Abby, look, this is something that Donald Trump said he was going to do on the campaign trail. He was going to, quote unquote, get rid of the deep state. He was going to punish people who were focusing on, we were investigating January 6th. He said he was going to do this. But now we're actually seeing this come to fruition. And Americans should be very alarmed about this. I think we're just at the beginning. This letter, I can guarantee you, we're going to see more and more of this. I have plenty of friends who worked in the Department of Justice and the FBI during the Biden administration. They know very well people who are terrified
And the fact that
and
this
who are about to
letter
lose
has
their
to be
jobs.
written anonymously because obviously they're afraid that they're going to lose their jobs, which will probably happen. He's doing exactly what he said he would do. And I know there are a lot of people who were rooting him on because, as you point out, 76 million people voted for him. But the reality is that this is a very despicable and disgraceful thing that is happening.
Mhm.
And I almost feel like, who is defending these people who are being attacked? I know there are these last minute, and I don't want to jump on the Democrats, and I know there are these last minute court orders and people are taking people to court, but I feel as if they're putting it on the people that are being actually threatened and attacked. They're like, here you go, figure that out. There's no way to actually fight what's happening in real time because it's never happened.
CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller joins us now. So, John, with those names now in the hands of the DOJ, what happens next?
Well, that is the question. Remember, Pam, this is where the FBI was asked to provide this information instead of providing names because they were concerned of what would occur with these identities. They provided the unique employee identification numbers so that if there was some matter that made them want to need a specific name, that number could be run. But now that they've turned over the names, the question is, what does happen next? In other words, the executive order for ending weaponization of the government says that this information is supposed to be gathered, processed, and sent to the deputy chief of staff at the White House, not the attorney general, not the inspector general of the Justice Department. So from a political standpoint, what are their operators going to do with it? Are they going to run the names of 5,000 FBI employees against voter registration records to figure out who's a Republican, who's a Democrat? Are they going to use those names to search social media to figure out what someone said within their First Amendment rights in a post? Nobody knows the answer to that, but to be fired or to have sanctions taken against them in their jobs, that has to go through a process which they have delineated none of.
An open letter from an anonymous FBI agent. CNN just obtained it, and we've added the voice to that agent's words.
I'm going to reveal only 5 to 7 stocks that I believe you should trade out.
Currently, there is an effort to cull a significant number of career special agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is an
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that?
Yes, shalom. Brother Leonard, looked like everything that had affected him, with New York mayor and this governor he is pardoning or stopping the DOJ from prosecuting them. So anything looked like has happened to him, he is doing that.
Right. Exactly. Even to come to find out that what Elon Musk doing. He's attacking all the agencies that he had problems with in the past. It's crazy, and people looking right at it, but it's like everybody powerless. Anybody else got any comments on that? Okay, here we go.
Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillon for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give the video a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way others will know that we're here. And for that, we say thank you so much. Family, certainly many of you probably have seen some of my coverage in times past about Haiti. I've discussed some of the folks that are on the ground, the activists on the ground that exposed the United States and other Western imperialists, the reason why they create instability in their country. You heard about the fact that the United States and others sabotaged some of the trade, the oil money, and so forth, and the relationships that they had with some of their neighboring countries in order to fix up their nation, and how some of the US's puppets, the West puppets, mishandled or misused or stole the money. And so the people on the ground didn't actually get it. How many of you all know that those relationships that they were going to have with other countries such as Venezuela and so forth would have rivaled such groups as the IMF and others? Yes, they tend to be predatory against the darker peoples of the planet. Certainly you all have heard me discuss some of the suspicious activities and some of the very terrible accusations that the Clinton Foundation has been accused of in that nation as well, among many, many others. I have discussed in times past how the United States is the one that caused the former president, Mr. Aristide, to be removed from office. We threatened him under Bush 1. When Clinton got into office, Clinton restored him back into office, but he did it based on a very terrible rice tariff agreement, which further impoverished their people there. And then when Bush 2 got into office, he turned around and also threatened and forced former President Aristide out as well. They threatened to assassinate him if he did not leave, and they dropped him off in a country in Africa. This is the United States of America. They did this. That's just one of many, many different things that the United States and others have done to this glorious little country. Very strategic, though. I have discussed here also testimony from people on the ground and people that have knowledge of the country that even certain deleterious factions of the UN travel at night to transport what some have alleged now. And I've played you the footage of that. Some of the folks that were talking on Mr. Rock Newman's show, where they have alleged that certain UN factions were transporting minerals and other similar things back and forth at night. Well, I want you to watch this clip.
In this video, I'm going to show you why the United States is using Kenya to invade the country. This invasion is all about the country's iridium and gold. Do you see this special rock? There is tons of it in a once populated neighborhood where there were thousands of people living. This precious stone is one of the minerals that the United States is after. This is what the insecurity is all about. The United States wants to use Kenya to steal its natural resources. This stone is in a heavily populated area that had over 30,000 people, but now it's a ghost town. The terrorist gangs chase the entire population out of their neighborhood so that they can dig for this stone. This stone is worth trillions of dollars. This terrorist gang member showed this rock while he was digging to show what the United States is after. They have been mining for this rock for months, and now they need Kenya to help them get it. This is why the United States is offering Kenya over $200 million for them to go to Haiti. Canada pledged to give another $100 million, which is a total of $300 million.
Family, did you hear that? Iridium. That is one of the minerals that I discussed in some of my previous broadcasts. Yes? Well, just so you know, what is iridium? Iridium, it says here in the online uses for this, it says that the dominant uses of iridium are the metal itself and its alloys, as in high performance spark plugs, crucibles for recrystallization of semiconductors, hello somebody, at high temperatures, and electrodes for the production of chlorine in the chloralkali process. How many of y'all know this is very important stuff for technological advancement throughout the world? Yes? So how many of you all know, based on the clip that you saw, didn't they precisely bring into context, this particular investigative reporter make very clear that the instability in Haiti has everything to do with the fact of this iridium, and how, as you heard the reporter say, one of the so-called gang terrorist members there showed them this stone of iridium. So if the so-called gang terrorist folks there are the ones that were taking this iridium out of the ground, if they were the ones that were directly benefiting from this is what it seems to be clear why the United States needed a black face, hello, Kenyan soldiers on the front line to drive out the gang members, because it is the United States and the West that wanted to benefit from them. This is what apparently this investigator is saying. Now, I again have discussed iridium in times past. I've also discussed some of the other minerals there, and I've taken my position based on credible, what I believe to be credible information. Of course, I provided many of those sources.
Okay, any comments on that? Ain't that something?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Is that something? Like I said before, what you see going on in Africa, it's going to come out. They got a hidden agenda. What they did in Ghana, and then what they got going on right now is something else they got going on. These people They desperate. They like a coon that's been backed in a corner. They ain't no telling what they're gonna do. They see their little world going to the dogs. Yeah, that's what this Project 25 is all about. It's their last attempt. Okay, so you're supposed to be expecting anything from this day forward. Okay, so we got some need to know information.
I'm going to need everybody under the sound of my voice to go ahead and share this link. This is one of the most important broadcasts I will ever do because it involves such a serious topic. Right now, we are dealing with a lot of information that has been passed down to us over the centuries. And trying to process all of it and navigate through all of this can be quite confusing at times. But I do want you all to go ahead and share this broadcast because I want to help you sort through a lot of these things that we are faced with. This topic that I'm going to be bringing today is very, very powerful because it activates judgment. If you are someone who is watching our channel for the first time, I must fair warn you that this is a truth channel. We do not water it down. We don't put a cherry on top. It's not candy coated, not sugar coated, no caramel, no strawberry topping, no chocolate topping. It is straight and to the point. Because the Bible tells us that only the truth will make us free. So that's what I have for you. I have truth. If you are seeking real liberty, then I have truth for you. If you're not interested in true liberty, if you're not interested in facts, then you need to go somewhere else. Also, if you feel the need to subscribe after listening to what we've said, if you're a person who loves truth and you don't have pleasure in unrighteousness, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let's get into this. There is a class action lawsuit brought against America, USA Inc., on behalf of so-called Black African Americans. I say so-called because we have been misnamed. And so-called means that this is what a lot of our people identify as. And so this is the way that you approach them because they may not know what our true identity is. And so therefore we say so-called Black African Americans, Black people, colored folks, me, bros, whatever the word of the day is. These are so-called because our true identity is right there in the pages of the Bible. Give me one moment, family. Okay, so now we are going to jump to this. We're going to jump right into the word. As a matter of fact, the word itself is very quick and powerful, right? And it's sharper than any two-edged sword. No one can deny the truth of the word except those who don't desire the truth. First of all, before getting into this topic of this class action lawsuit, I want to share some scripture that Psalms 82, it says that the Most High that is pronounced in scripture as well. Now here's a very powerful one in the books. So listen, Your deeds are recorded. And it's unfortunate for many, should I say for most, that your ancestors have taught you lies. You have inherited lies that they inherited. So your pastor has you thinking that every so often blue moon attendance to heaven, just a quick simple prayer every now and then, a good deed every now and then, is all you need to earn heaven. That is a strong delusion that the Most High allowed to come forth because people have pleasure in unrighteousness. He said, I'm going to send you a strong delusion so that you can believe a lie. So what I did just now is establish for you, and there are more scriptures as well. I established for you that there are court proceedings going on in the heavens. And there are some very, very specific cases that have been brought forth, right? Now, the Bible tells us that the devil is the accuser of the brethren. So the devil likes to accuse Yah's people before him, day and night. But let me tell you how we counter that. We go before the throne.
In our case, these details have been recorded throughout history in them verses of scenarios. It is well known who has been evil and rotten towards the other. Factual background, a detailed account of the facts that led to the lawsuit, including the actions of the defendants and how they affected the plaintiffs. Oh, in our case, it is too much to list here, but a simple background check on America conducted by the angels of heaven will pull up all of the dirt, blood, sweat, tears, pain, suffering, anxiety, hurt, torture, memories, persecution,
If you need to stand in the gap for somebody else, just a formal statement. It has to be typed out because I want it to be known and I want it to be heard what each and every testimony is. That's what this is. Again, this is something that we are doing because we want the world to see and hear what we are experiencing and what we have experienced. Okay? Because guess what? Every last deed was already recorded in heaven. Just like one of the passages I read to you at the beginning of this, it was already recorded in heaven.
Okay. And comment. Think about that. Okay. Yeah, so with that being said,
Shalom. Yeah, Shalom. So what is what is she saying when she played that little recording of the records in heaven? Is she just, put something together like an example or something?
Well, she's showing you how that it may not seem like the court system on the earth is working in our behalf, but it's a court in heaven, and all the evidence being gathered by the angels. And the day the judgment gonna come. It may not seem like it's gonna happen on the earth, but she's saying it's gonna be a court is being held, and information and is being gathered.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, I open up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments about anything they came across or they heard about or you want to talk about it? Anybody found any information out on the Lamar halftime show? Any comments? Okay. Sound like somebody trying to say something.
Joseph was trying to say something. His mic was to say something. It was a couple of videos I watched today where people were breaking down a lot of things that was happening in the video that the Boule does that we overlooked, as far as doing certain signs with their hands, They was describing the symbols that was in the video. I forget what they called the game that he had that he was representing, like the different squares and
Block,
the triangle. Say that again, sir.
block game.
Right. Yes. So
Starting 10.
right. So that really went more into detail of what was going on. And like I said, when we see the celebrities that are allowed to do certain things, it's because they are allowing them to do it.
Right.
And we take and run with it as Black people and not fully understanding what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. Right. Right. They making this is like most lawyers. The ones that injury lawyers, accident lawyers, they want to get your case because they actually pleading for money for themselves. They gonna give you some of it, but you don't know what kind of deal they done made with the insurance company on their behalf and selling to give you a certain amount, but no telling what the deal they done made. And that's what's going on with these forever. The Boule, they making deals. People like Al Sharpton, they making deals on their behalf, but they got you thinking they're making deals on behalf of us as a people, but they making deals on what they can get. It's not about trying to do something for the masses,
hmm
and they don't know what they done behind the scenes. Well, we know now, but yeah.
Shalom. So it's just for me listening to that is who do we trust? We don't trust anyone. Far as our so-called leaders for the black um, people, are they
No.
all in that position to gain for themselves, or we just understand that the Lord of hosts will give us signs of what to take heed to when they speak?
Right. And for the longest, uh, we had no voice. We ain't had nobody that was speaking forth and bringing forth the Most High's uh, understanding His knowledge in our culture, because it was prophecy that we was going to go through. He said that we was going to go through a dry period, and then He said in the latter days He's going to pour His Spirit out on Israel, and the righteous ones is going to start waking up, and He's going to start waking up His prophets, and that's where we at. So, like I said before, you get in a place where you know that you're getting fed, and the truth is, and that's where you stay. Because when you understand what's going on, you can see that anybody that of color that you see out there on the getting major TV time, something ain't right. Because these people got too much to lose to have somebody that's bring forth truth, and they giving them a stage for it. They're not gonna give you no stage. If they got a stage, it's to help them. We see what they do to the people that's bringing the truth. When what Kyrie Irving done. So if they giving you a big old stage like the Super Bowl halftime show and BET and all this stuff, something ain't right. Especially if you do your homework and track it back. They ain't right. They being used.
Shalom. And maybe the ones that may be giving us the truth, they will not last long in the arena of the people that give them all the lighting and things like that. Because, um, I don't know if it was Malcolm X was a true, saying all the truthful things, but they ended his life abruptly,
Right.
correct?
Right.
So,
That's your example. Long as he was doing long as he was going along with the program, he was good. But as soon as he realized that it wasn't what he was doing wasn't good, that's when he came up dead. And so if you got some leader that's been hanging around 10, 20, 30 years, he's something wrong. He ain't right.
Shalom, can I answer? Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that as twisted as it sounds, these elitists, they really believe themselves to be gentlemen. Okay, as such, they warn you about what they're about to do, but they do it indirectly. And yet they use our people. There's some people that are involved in the Boule and so forth and so on. But this is the way that they disseminate the information to us and let us know what they're what they plan to do with us. But I found it strange that during that halftime, he did mention about the 40 acres and a mule, which is kind of odd for them to even mention something like that. Considering the problems that we're having now within the government and what they're doing, as far as it affects our people.
Right, exactly. Right, yeah. So actually, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about was the halftime show was a warning. Those people, because they have to give you, it's been creator, heaven, it's been put into them, programming them, they have to give us a warning. So it is a warning. When you go back and rightly divide that, I got, it's like two people that broke that down. I thought people need to listen to. One of them was the channel called, let me think his name, Breeze, something like that. Can't think of his name. Then the other one is let me get it right here. It's Eugene from Kenya. He got a video on this LGBT guy is breaking down the Super Bowl or what happened with the Super Bowl. And this one right here with Eugene from Kenya was the best one to me. I can't think of that guy's name. It'll come to me in a minute. But he broke it down too. But I think right here, this guy Eugene from Kenya, he really set it off on the whole. It's a big warning. It's a warning, and like I said, it's right around the corner. He's warning everybody. So if you watch both of those videos, between the information between the both of them, I think you have a pretty rounded understanding of what that whole thing halftime show was all about. Okay, and a lot of people don't know it, but it's a big old stank of fruit feud going back and forth with Samuel L. Jackson and Trump. So it's not a coincidence that he was in that they had him in that halftime show. Okay.
Shalom. And my thoughts of what's
Name was
going on.
New Breed. Go
Okay.
ahead.
And my thoughts are, when you mentioned that the Lord of hosts will use others to get things done here on earth, whereas he would use the people, if they're doing bad, he uses them also. So, far as us speaking on the ones giving out the subliminal messages, is he using them also?
Yeah, he used them. If you notice in the past with the Pharaoh, with Darius, I mentioned the other day, Darius, Artaxerxes, Evil Murdoch. He used Evil Murdoch, son of Cyrus, to free Jehoiakim out of prison. But his name, he tell you everything about it, evil. So he used these evil men to do his bidding for him. Then he judge him. It's like these countries. He used these countries to do his bidding, to bring forth prophecy, and then he judge them.
Shalom. I've been told, and to get it straight, that this evil spirit or the demons, whatever title they use, they have to tell you the truth. And so, like Hollywood out there in California, the Los Angeles Los Angels, there it's been said that they are there. And with the movie producers and things like that, those um, evil spirits get and do those movies just to let the masses know what's happening. Um, like a prediction what's going to happen in the future. You're saying movies that they made up, um, and then years later, here it is happening. Not in the exact way that it happened, but it happened. As far as we get on the spirits, how would we know those spirits are getting into those people to say the things they're saying or to be led away with, um, you know, convincing the boulets that one would say, like L. Sharpton once says he's one, get all this trust to those people that comes on and listen to Impact every Saturday. Is the spirits doing that to them, or
Well, you got to go back to. Do you know what a high place is in the Tanakh? When he's talking about that Israel was going up to the high places, what's that all about?
going up to the mountains to?
Yeah, up in the high places, like up to. For example, I mean, I don't know how much you know about that, but it said the 200 angels came down on the summit of Mount Hermon, right?
Yes, sir, through the portal.
Yeah, but they came down on the summit, so that's a plateau high up in the mountains, a summit. So they came down on that summit. So every mountain got summits. So the giants, how it originally started, those giants was going up on those plateaus to sacrifice their children to the angels, to their fathers, human sacrifices. So when they go up in the mountains to the high places and make those sacrifices, is that in vain or is it something up there they sacrificing to?
There should be up there sacrificing to something. That's what
Right,
it's
angels,
sacrificing.
fallen angels, right?
Yes, sir, that cannot ascend anymore. So
Right. So that's the heart of, we know now the powers that be on this earth, Hollywood, the high ups and all the governments and all that, they big on child sacrifice, right?
yes, it's been said.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So who they sacrificing to? Is they just sacrificing for the hell of it, or who they sacrificing? Same entities
Yes.
that they sacrificed to way back then. Yeah. So it ain't nothing new under the sun. It's just that times have changed and technology and all that, but they're still dealing with the same entities that require human sacrifices. And that's how you expose JC, because the creator don't require no human sacrifices. He says that he punished our forefathers for sacrificing their kids in the fire to Moloch and to these other deities. So, and then he punished Manasseh. That was the whole purpose that Israel went into captivity in Babylon, was because of what Manasseh was doing, which was sacrificing innocent children, innocent blood, spilling innocent blood in Israel. So now he's going to come behind him and he's going to sacrifice his son. That you didn't build him up and say that he was born without sin, he's born of an angel and all this stuff. And so he's innocent. You take him and you sacrifice him on the cross, and he ain't done nothing. No, it don't add up.
Shalom.
So that's
So
all.
was it? Yes, sir.
Go
While
ahead.
we're on this here, and I'm gonna hurry up. So when Abraham had his son to go up and do a sacrifice, what was that? A evil spirit told him to do such, and that's when he got so close, there was a ram in the bush. What was
Yeah, when you
on
go
that
back to that story,
aspect?
when you go back to that story, the Jubilee, the book of Jubilees. It explains that there was a wicked spirit on Main Street. That was, like I said, Satan is not a name of an angel. That's a title, which is an adversary. That's what Satan is. So when you say Satan showed up, what his name is, because at different times there's different angels. Like in the garden was Samuel. Then we know Aziel came. He was a Satan as an adversary. So at that time, Moses, it was Main Street that was tempting, that was appearing to Abraham as an angel of light, trying to get him to sacrifice his son. And then, and the Lord of hosts allowed it to happen until he got to the point where Abraham was getting ready to murder him. Then he says the angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven and stopped it, caught his hand. And then he told him. And like I said before, all these, when you understand all this, it breaks down, it kills the story of JC. So he caught his hand and stopped him and said, it's a ram. It's a ram over there. It's caught in the bush. His horn's caught in the bush. Go get him and sacrifice him, because that's what the Most High requires of us. Humans sacrifice clean animals, goats and bulls and sheep, not no human. That's pagan. Okay.
Shalom. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
I mean, you guys know about the Bohemian Grove, right?
Yeah.
We know that's what they were doing there too. They were sacrificing children, so they're still even today doing the very same thing. Nothing has changed.
Right. And that goes along with what people not factoring in. Not only do Yahweh in heaven change not, these fallen angels, they don't change either. They still doing the same thing they did 1,000 years ago. The same, and the crazy part about it, the exact same beings that was dealing with Abraham and all them, dealing with us today. So imagine how crafty they are after all this time. They eternal beings. That's why they got punished. When they came down and started sleeping with the women, they wasn't supposed to have children. They had everything it takes to bring forth a child, but they didn't need a child because they're eternal beings. Man was able to reproduce himself because he dies. So he's able to reproduce himself before he passed away. And all other animals, they're able to reproduce themselves, but they eternal beings. They don't need to reproduce themselves. They don't need a woman.
I just want to say to that point, I mean, how does it make sense that these angels, these watchers came down, and because they did mingle with the women on earth, that immediately they were punished and cast into the earth for doing such a thing? As I said, this is not to be done because, as you say, they were eternal and obviously we're finite. So, and then according to the New Testament, then the very same thing happened, that he impregnated a woman. I mean, I don't get it. It just seems like do as I say, not as I do type of deal. Am I wrong?
Well, it's back then, like I was saying, you had those kings, those royals. Those were the only people getting educated. All of the masses were dumb as a rock. It's just recently that the masses of the people education was presented to them. For the longest, they couldn't even have access to a Bible. So when the Pope or Cardinal was talking to the masses of the people, they had to believe everything he was saying because they didn't have no access to no books. The same way they did with us. So that's what that is. You know, they lied to us. They told us what they wanted to tell us because the people at the time was illiterate. But that's not the case. What we're looking at is the creator at work, because now we have access. We are already an intelligent nation of people because we was dealing with angels. There's no other race of men on the planet that was dealing with angels except Israelites. The angels wasn't dealing with those other races. It's only dealing with Israel. So that was the reason they did what they did with the kept us away from books and schooling and all that. Back into doing slavery. They knew what we was capable of. It's now is the time that we got to figure out what we capable of and where we fail from. And that's where the problem coming in there. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Yeah, I will play this little video right quick. It's a little about, like I said, these Israelites starting. You can see the Most High hand in the affairs of Israel because they're starting to wake up.
A lot of people that calling that are Hebrew Israelites were once Christians. Can you give me your backstory? Were you once a Christian, or were you not a Christian until you discovered your Hebrew Israelites? And what were some of the reasons why you left Christianity? I know that's not the topic for today, but what were some of the reasons why you left?
All right, so yes, I used to believe in JC. I used to teach JC, pray through JC, until the Most High put this spirit on me, and woke me up and showed me that that's not needed for salvation at all. What God requires is keeping His laws, His statutes, and His commandments, right? So once I realized that, me and my brother in the comments, once we realized that, we left the New Testament and we stuck to the Word, like I said, which is from Genesis to Malachi.
Oh. Okay, ain't that something? So that's starting to happen all over the place. It's speeding up because, like I said, you got people that over the last 10, 15 years or so, when it really sped up, was they found out that they was Israelites, but they didn't understand who their God is. They've been hoodwinked, that they JC on and do with them. And so now we see that it's elevating. Like I was saying before, you can't find out on Tuesday that JC ain't real, and then Saturday you're a moray, you got a class. It don't work like that. So when you understand about, like I said, planting seeds, these seeds, a lot of these seeds was planted long ago. They just coming to fruition. These people they've been hearing about JC ain't real, but they weren't trying to hear it. But after so long, that seed that was laid started germinating. Then it comes to fruition. And that's all we're looking at. It's that time.
To go in a minute. I just want to share. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. So with that being said, we can go into anybody got anything else before I start reading? Okay, everybody good? So I'm reading out of the book of Exodus, but I'm reading out of my Targum's book. It's the Torah, but it's called a Targum. So I'm gonna read. You're gonna see how it's got a little more better understanding in this reading out of these Targums than reading out of King James. So I'm gonna read a few chapters out of Exodus. Okay. So it says, now these are the names of the children of Israel who came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the thigh of Jacob were 70 souls. including Joseph, who was in Egypt. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, who knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more numerous and powerful than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they be added also to our haters, and fight against us, and go up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them officers of tribute to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Jerusalem, they built for the Pharaoh store cities, Pison, Ramesses, and as they afflicted them, so they multiplied and grew, and they were harnessed because of the children of Israel. They were harassed because of the children of Israel, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard service, in slime, in bricks, and in all manner of service in the field. And their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. So, like I said before, what's the difference in that than transatlantic slave trade and our beginnings over here in America, right? And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Zipporah, and the name of the second was Put. And he said, when you do the office of the midwife to the Hebrew women, okay, to the Hebrew, okay, let me get it, the Hebrew women, and see upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall put him to death. But if it be a daughter, then shall she live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt spake to them, but saved the children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing, and have saved the children alive? And the midwife said unto the Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are virtuous, vigorous, and bear ere the midwives came unto them. Okay, right. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because of the midwives' fear of God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Now there had gone a man of the house of Levi, and had taken a wife of the daughters of Levi, and the woman was pregnant, and bore a son. And when she saw him that he was goodly, she concealed him 3 months. And when she could no longer conceal him, she took for him an ark of paper or a reed, and daubed it with bitumen and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she put it in the flags by the river brinks. And his sister placed herself afar off to know what would be done of him. And the daughter of the Pharaoh went down to lie at the river, and her damsel walked by the riverside, and when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid servant, and she took it, and when she had opened it, she saw it, the child, and behold, it was a weeping boy, and she pitied him, and said, this is one of the Hebrew children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nursing woman of the Hebrews, that she may suckle the child for thee? And the Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, go. And the young woman went and called the child's mother. And the Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away, and suckle it for me, and I will give thee thy hire. And the woman took the child and suckled it, and the child grew, and she brought him into the Pharaoh's daughter, and he became as her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I pulled him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and saw their burdens. And he saw an Egyptian man smiting a Hebrew man, one of his brethren, and he turned this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he smote the Egyptian to death and secreted him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to the guilty one, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee the personage of an officer or a judge over us, intending thou to slay me as thou slew the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely, surely this thing is known. And now when the Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of the Pharaoh and abode in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the gutters to give their father's flock drink. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses arose and saved them and gave drink to their flock. And when they came to Raoul, their father, he said, why have you come so hastily today? And they said, an Egyptian man delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and gave drink to our flocks. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Where have you left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to abide with the man, and he gave Moses for his daughter, and she bore him a son, and he called his name Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land, and it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sinned by reason of the service, and they cried, and their cry for help came up unto God by reason of the service. And God heard their moaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God saw the children of Israel, and God knew their affliction. Now Moses fed the flocks of Jethro, his father-in-law, priest of Midian, and he led the flock behind the desert, came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb, and the angel of the Eternal appeared unto him in a flame of a fire out of the midst of the bush. And he saw, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not devoured. So I want to go back right quick. I just had to come up these mountains and these plateaus. So we see right here. Now Moses fed the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he fled and he led the flock behind the desert and came to the mountain of God, right? The mountain of God. But look who on the mountain, even unto Horeb. And the angel of the Lord, the angel of the Eternal, appeared unto him in the flame of the fire. So it's the angel on the mountain, not Yahweh. And that's always the case, except in Mount Sinai when he came down and 7 days on Mount Sinai. But when they on top of these mountains and these plateaus, these angels ascending down on these mountains, not Yahweh. So anyway, it says, and Moses said, I will just depart and see the great sight, while the bush is not consumed. And when the Eternal saw that he departed to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here I am. And he said, approach now hither, pull off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place wherein thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses screened his face for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Eternal said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, and I have come down to deliver them out of the hands of the Egyptians, to bring them up out of the land unto a good and large land, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of thy children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, because I will be with thee, and this shall be a sign unto thee that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel and say unto them, the God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thou shalt thus say unto the children of Israel, I am that hath sent me unto you. And God said moreover unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the eternal, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath sent unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, the eternal God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, and of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come, and thou and the elders of Israel unto the king of Egypt, and ye shall say unto him, the eternal God of the Hebrews hath happened to meet us, and now let us go. Right? We pray thee 3 days' journey into the desert, that we may sacrifice to the eternal our God. And I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go, not even by a strong hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite the Egyptians with all my wonders which I will do among them. After that, he will let you go, and I will give this people favor in the eyes of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when ye go, ye shall not go empty, but every man shall ask of her neighbor and of her that sojourn in her house, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians. And Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, the Eternal have not appeared unto thee. And the Eternal said unto him, what is it in thy hand? And he said, staff. And he said, cast it on the earth. And he cast it on the earth, and it became a serpent. And Moses ran away from before. And the Eternal said unto Moses, put forth thine hand, and seize it by its tail. And he put forth his hand, and he laid hold of it, and it became as a staff in his hand, that they may believe that the eternal God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared unto thee. And the Eternal said furthermore unto him, bring now thine hand into thy bosom. And he brought his hand into his bosom, and when he had brought it out, behold, his hand was leprosy as snow. Put thy hand into thy bosom again, And he put his hand into his bosom again, and he brought it out of his bosom, and behold, it had returned to his other flesh. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they shall believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not believe also these two signs, neither hearken not unto thy voice, that thou shalt take the water of the river and pour it upon dry land, and the water which thou takest out shall become blood upon the dry land. And Moses said unto the Eternal, Pardon, my Lord, I am not a man of words, neither therefore nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, I am slow of speech and of slow tongue. And the Eternal said unto him, Who have made thou, and who maketh the dumb, or the deaf, or the open-eyed, or the blind? Have not I the Eternal? Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, Pardon my sin, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the wrath of the Eternal glowed against Moses. And he said, Is not Aaron thy brother? I know that he can speak well, and also, behold, he goeth forth toward thee. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him and put the words in his mouth, right? Okay. And I will be with thy mouth and with his mouth, and I will teach you what ye shall do. And he shall speak for thee to the people, and he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be unto him instead of a God. And thou shalt take this staff in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. And Moses went and returned to Jethro his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray thee, and my brethren whom are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said unto Moses, Go in peace. And the Eternal said unto Moses in Midian, Go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead who sought thy life. And Moses took his wife and his sons, and made them ride upon the ass, and returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the staff of God in his hand, and the Eternal said unto Moses, When thou goest into Egypt, see that thou do all the wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thy hand, but I will suffer his heart to be hard, that he shall not let the people go. And thou shalt say unto the Pharaoh, Thus saith the Eternal, Israel is my son, even my firstborn son. And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. And it came to pass by the way in the lodging place that the Eternal met him and sought to put him to death. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet, and said, Surely a bridegroom of blood art thou unto me. So he loosened his hold of him. Then she said, A bridegroom of blood thou art, because of circumcision. And the Eternal said unto Aaron, Go into the desert toward Moses. And he went and to Aaron, right? And he met him in the mountain of God, kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words of the Eternal who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of Israel. And Aaron spake words which the Eternal had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the eyes of the people. And the people believed. And when they heard that the Eternal had visited the children of Israel, and that he had seen their affliction, then they bowed their heads and prostrated themselves. Okay. Okay. Those are Yeah, it's 4 chapters. Anybody got any comments?
Shalom, brother Leonard. I noticed in here they call the Lord of Hosts a lot the Eternal, the Eternal. I
Right,
mean, and
right.
so what's the significance of that? Maybe.
Yeah. So let's go back. I want to show you something on that. It's in the King James when you want who's who. So it says okay, yeah, it says okay. Yeah, I'm gonna start at verse chapter 2. It says, now there was a there had gone a man of the house of Levi and had taken a wife of the daughters of Levi. Okay, let me get on down a little more. So it says, okay. Yeah, right here. It says, now when the Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of the Pharaoh and abode in the land of Midian. And he sat down by the well. Now with the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the gutters to give their father's flock drink. And the shepherds came and drove them away. So Moses arose, saved them, gave them drink to their flocks. And when they came to Raoul, their father, he said, why has ye come so hastily today? And they said, an Egyptian man delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and drew water enough for us to drink to the and gave drink to the flocks. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Wherefore have you left the man? Call him, that he may breed. And Moses was content to abide with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter, and she bore him a son, and called his name Goshen. And he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. Now here you go right here, the answer. And it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel signed by the reason of service, and they cried, and their cry was for help came up to God by reason of the service. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham and with Isaac and with Jacob. And God saw the children of Israel, and God knew their affliction. Now here you go. Now Moses fed the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, and the priest of Midian, and he led the flock behind the desert. Now here you go. Came to the mountain of God, even the Horeb, right? So it says right here, came to the mountain of God, even the Horeb, right? Then we see on the mountain an angel of the eternal. See that? An angel of the eternal, him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush, and he saw, behold, right? The bush burned with fire, and the bush was not devoured. And Moses said, I will just depart and see this great sight, while the bush is not consumed. And when eternal, see that? So who on the mountain?
Michael.
Right.
The angel.
Now look what it say. And when the eternal saw that he departed to see. So who? It's the angel on the mountain, right?
Right, yes, sir.
So look what it say. See, it says, I will depart and see this great sight, while the bush is not consumed. And when the eternal saw, so the eternal and this angel, same being. You see that?
Right. Yes, sir.
See that? Say, and when the eternal saw that he departed to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush. So this the thing why it don't really never hard, it don't hard to come up. So I'm talking about why the angels sinned when they went into women. They had everything they need to mate with a woman, but they they was not allowed to because they eternal beings, right?
Yes, sir.
They live forever. So ain't the angel eternal?
Live forever, right?
Okay, there it is. Is there something?
Yes, sir. It, Brother Leonard, it also says in that verse, it says, and when the Eternal saw that he departed to sea, then it says God called out to him out the midst of the bush. So that's saying the Eternal was God, right?
No. Michael is eternal. God talked to him. Remember, he got Yahweh as a consuming fire, right?
Okay, right. Yes, sir.
And he created those 7 angels because he can't deal with mankind or flesh or nothing. He can't deal with nothing. Can't come around him because it'll just reach out and burn them up. So that was the purpose that he formed those 7 angels. And then, but the first one he formed was Michael, that's like him. He got characteristics like him, but Michael has these 7 angels got the ability to interact with his creation. He can't interact with it; he'll burn them up. So if they came, all of them came from the same essence. So if Michael is like it says, Lucifer or these angels going to and fro on the earth, right? The eyes of the Lord going to and fro on the earth. What they see, he can see it. See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. What these angels see, the Most High can see.
Yeah, whatever they see, they can be light years away from him. Whatever they going about doing, and they see, he can see it in heaven on the throne. So that's where they get the on the Wicked Witch of the Oz with the crystal ball.
Right. Yes, sir.
That's where they getting it from. So when these angels in their purest form, which is a consuming fire like him, whatever they see, he can see. So Michael lit on the bush as a consuming fire, not as a man. So when he on this bush, he's a consuming fire. Yahweh can see what he sees. That was the purpose of him lighting on the bush in the form of a fire. Then it says Moses came near. Then Yahweh can see him when he came near where he was at. Then he told him, "Take your shoes off. The ground is holy." Right?
Right. Yes, sir.
So why is the ground holy?
Because Michael's
Yahweh,
there.
right? Yahweh ain't there. The ground is holy because Michael there. So we just read earlier in the Psalms, the Holy One of Israel. Huh? See that?
Right.
Right. It ain't Yahweh. The 7 holy angels, and one of them is over Israel. We know who that is. Michael. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so somebody got a scripture they want to deal with before we close out?
Brother Leonard, can we go to Joshua chapter 5?
Okay, let me get it. 5 and 10 or what?
13 through 15.
Okay, let me get it. Okay, you gonna read it?
Yes, sir. My subtitle says the captain of the host of the Lord. Verse 13 says, and it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with the sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, are you for us or for our adversaries? And he said, nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship. And he said unto him, what saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord of hosts said unto Joshua, loose your shoe from off your foot, for the place whereon you stand is holy. And Joshua did so.
So don't you see all the same characteristics with Moses on the mountain?
Yes, sir. Exact same.
He told Moses loose her shoes off, but it's one difference. When he saw Moses on Mount Horeb, because he wanted Yahweh wanted to talk to him, so he lit on the bush as a flame of fire. But he appeared to him right here as a man.
Right. Yes, sir. So that's why Joshua bowed down, right?
Right. He did the same thing Moses did. The same being. And then we see he got a sword with him, right?
Yes, sir.
Say, ain't this like I was saying? It's eternal being. Who wasn't it the angel at the gate of the garden? Didn't he have a sword? When he put Adam and Eve out, same being. That's why Daniel said, a certain man. He saw a certain man girded about with a golden girdle, same being. And then he told him in verse 14, he said, nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord. So he's the Lord of hosts. And we already dealt with that. That's why Joseph was made second in charge. Because of the person that orchestrated Joseph's life brought him to second in charge, because that's what he is. Mordecai. He brought Mordecai second in charge. That's why he could have easily made Mordecai the king, or he could have easily Joseph the Pharaoh, but he bringing them to rulership from the same place where he ruling from, which is second to the Most High, the Lord of hosts. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Right, it's the Holy One. He told him, just like Moses did, he told him to take his shoes off. And right here, he told him to take his shoes off. And we see in Genesis 18, when Abraham came, he got down on the ground and bowed down. It ain't Yahweh, but what they tell us in the New Testament, we ain't supposed to be angels, right?
Right, exactly.
Imagine how crazy that is. And it's right there in Revelation. Told them, don't bow down, I'm your brethren. How crazy is that? And we see all through the Old Testament, they getting down on the ground with their face to the ground, worshiping these angels, referencing them. Okay? You good?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and they call him master too, all through the Old Testament.
Right, and that's what master means. Yeah, so one more thing about that. Let me get it back. Let me go back there. Because it slipped my mind. So there was Joshua 5, right?
Yes, sir. 5 and 13.
Right. So look what happened when it says, let me get it. Yeah, 14. And he said, the angel talking, and he said, nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord, I am now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship and said unto him, what saith, look at that, lowercase, Lord. See that?
Right, yes, sir.
See that? They let you know that ain't Yahweh. See, it ain't none of Yahweh. And we know it ain't Jesus. So right here it says, verse 10, and the captain of the Lord's host. Now that's capitalized. See it?
Right, yes, sir. That title.
Right. But he addressing the angel, Joshua addressing the angel in 14, lowercase. Ain't that something? So this Lord that Joshua was dealing with, somebody over him. Okay. Ain't that something?
Yes, sir. That makes sense.
Right. Okay. So anybody else have anything before we go? Are we done?
Shalom. Are you in the Targets reading that out of Joshua?
Targums, yeah.
Okay, right.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So with that being said, nobody else have anything, we're gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. We got our women's advanced Bible study tomorrow night from 7 to 9 Central Time. So come in through YouTube. So with that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. You got something?
Shalom, everyone. No, I'm just shalom. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament in Tanak, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.